Hi guys, welcome to Code Debugger. In this video, we are going to explain Spring AOP concept, how Spring AOP work, and how to log our controller layer, service layer, and repository layer without impacting any business logic. So let's start with the design and diagram, how it is working and all that we'll discuss. After that, we'll start with the implementation part.
Press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss any update from the code debugger.
Yeah. So in our application, we'll have the three layers of components, right? So controller layer will be there, then service layer, then we will have the repository layer, right? So whenever any request will come to controller, let's say some requests are coming to controller. So whenever any user request will come to controller, then controller will forward that request to service layer. Then service layer will forward that request to, yeah. Then service layer will forward that request to repository layer. So like this, the normal flow is, right? So let's say we want to log in every layer. Let's say in controller layer, I want to log which methods is getting called and what is time taken by that method. Same in service layer and in repository layer. Okay. If you write the logging logic and which method is taking how much time, if that will write, that is kind of secondary logic. Without that also, our logic will work, right? So how we can implement, how we can separate that secondary logic from the primary logic. That's the reason Spring has provided the AOP concept by using what we can intercept kind of thing. We can intercept the controller service and repository layer with proxy classes. That means we'll separate the secondary logic from the primary logic, and whenever the primary logic will get called at that time, based on some annotation or some point cut, you can say, based on that it will route the request to the proxy class. In proxy class, automatically the what is the proxy class? Proxy class is nothing but it's kind of the child class of your main class, you can say. Let's say for controller layer, in controller layer we are having one method called m1. Then what will happen whenever we are implementing the AOP concept? Whenever this controller method will get called, then it will create a you can say it will create a subclass of that class by extending that class, and internally the secondary logic will get called, and after that there are different like advices are like there, like before advice, after advice, around advice, and throws advice. So in this example we are going to explain about the around advice, because we are planning to log which method is getting called, what is the input and what is the output. Okay, so around advice is like we'll have the control before the actual method called and after the actual method called, so that we can print the output as well, right? So we'll use here the around advice. So let me create the proxy layer first here. So here proxy layer will get generate. Let's say this is controller proxy. So here also another proxy will get create in service layer. If we'll intercept, then another proxy will get create. Okay. So in that proxy, actually we will have one class where we will define our secondary logic. Let's say this is called aspect class. And what we'll do whenever let's say this controller is at the right controller, right? Let me increase the size. Yeah, at the right controller. Whenever at the right controller will the class is annotated with at the right controller, Then we'll intercept the request. Same with service layer and repository layer. Okay, so these are the stereotypes annotations, right? Yeah. Plus the classes should be there inside our package only, means our application package only. Then only we'll intercept, otherwise we'll not intercept. So for that we need to write the point code logic. So point code should be whenever controller will get call at the rate controller. If it is the class is annotated with at the rate controller, then only create the proxy class and run our business logic around that. I mean before calling the logic and after calling the logic as well. Okay, so let's see in the Spring Boot program how we can execute this uh, in our application. Okay, yeah, yeah. So this is the normal Spring Boot application I have created with these three dependencies like the web dependency, AOP dependency, and Lombok. Okay, so if you see the Spring Boot starter parent version, I'm using 2.6.1 and the build is success now. Maven build is success. So we'll start with the implementation. Okay, so first we'll create the controller layer as per the diagram what I showed to you. Okay, then we'll have the service layer. Then we'll have repository layer, right? So in repository, what we'll do, let's say this is product repo. Okay, and here we'll have one method called, let's say, public string get product name. Okay, so it will return uh, let's say let's say product one, product type and test, something it will return. Okay, just for demo purpose I'm creating this method. Then yeah, this is with the service layer, product service. Here also we have will have the same kind of method which will call the um, repository layer at the rate repository, and here at the rate service, here we'll inject the repository class, sorry, product repo. Okay, we can use at the rate all our constructor or auto also we can use auto. So from here I will call to repository. Okay, repo dot get product name. That's it. We have created a service layer and a repository layer. Now we'll go to the controller layer. So product controller. Okay. So here at the REST controller, since we are creating the RESTful services. Okay. So here we'll inject the service layer, private product service, product service. Then at the auto add, then we'll create, let's say the same method name I will create. Then this will be at the get mapping, yeah, at the request mapping. Yeah, the root URL will be at the slash products. Okay, and here we'll call the service layer and we'll return the response. Yeah, that's it. We have created. Now what we'll do some logging kind of thing. Okay, normal login like log dot info, received request, for let's say product name. Same I will print here. I mean I will log in the service layer. I need to annotate with @SL4j. Then the same I will do in the repository layer as well. Okay. But here we are not writing any logic like let's say before, let's say from here we are calling to any database and we are getting some response, right? What we'll do, let's say string response like this, right? So before calling the logic, we are logging the time, log start time or store start time. After that, after calling logic, again we'll do the store end time. Then from end time minus start time, then that will log and the same thing we need to do and then we need to return the response, right? Like this we used to do in the normal business logic layer. If we'll write the logic, same logic in every layer, then instead of primary logic, we are concentrating on the secondary logic, which is not good practice, right? That's why we'll separate the secondary logic from the primary logic in this example. Okay, let's say I'm returning from here directly. Okay, yeah. So for that, what I will do, I will create a configuration class. Let's say config or AOP, or you can say AOP. Let's say AOP. So in AOP, what I will create, I will create the point codes first. Let's say up point codes. What I said in the this diagram. So whenever controller or service or repository will get call inside our package, then only we'll intercept with the aspect layer, whatever secondary logic we have written, right? The same thing we'll implement here. So let's say, so this point code will be our destination. Okay. So first of all, we'll write a point code. Whenever controller will get call, then point code should get called, right? Then our proxy class should get called. So for that, I will write public void, let's say controller point code. Okay. So here we are defining point codes. So no need to write any logic, no operation. Okay. What will write at the rate point code, right? Okay. Inside point code, we need to pass the within the package, whatever like REST controllers are there, then intercept the secondary logic, right? So within, then we need to write, let's say at the rate org. If you see here in the controller, this REST controller is coming from this package, right? Let me copy this one and I will paste here. Yeah, annotations dot REST controller, then star whatever. So whenever controller is any class is annotated with at the rate REST controller, at that time what we'll do, we will intercept that. The same we'll do with service and repository. Let's say this one is for service, this one is for repository. Okay, so here we'll write that service, then your repository. Okay, so we have written three annotations, right? Now we can combine those three annotations into one annotation. Like you can say the point codes we have written 3 point codes, right? Now we can combine those 3 point codes into 1 point code. Let me do that. Let's say common or something like that. I can say point code spring beans. Okay. So here also we no need to do any operations. Yeah, we are defining just point codes. So what we'll do here, add the red point code. Yeah. So inside that we will give the these names like point code names here. Okay. So controller point code, whenever controller point code will get called, or service point code, or repository point code. Whenever this any of these three point code will get called, then this is the common for these all three. Okay. Then or else we can write another. We can combine another one also. Let me write the within the package we need to call, right? Whenever this package is com.example.demo, then only these point codes should get called. So what we'll do, we'll write another point code for that. Let's say application point code, or let's say app point code. So here what we'll do, we'll not give the within, we'll write the execution for that. Like whenever this package or any method will get called, right? So here within the execution, so whatever what modifier, then com dot, let's say example dot demo. Okay. Then whatever method, whatever package, whatever class, whatever method, then whatever parameter we are passing, and whatever arguments, this will execute for all. So this is the modifier name, this is the package name up to parent package, then what is the sub package name, what is the class name, what is the method name, what is the parameter name. For this we need to give the execution type. Okay. So what we'll do, we'll combine these all annotations into one. Even you mean all those 4 point codes into 1 point code. So this point code name is app point code, right? Let's say this point code will get called, and within that any, like whether it is controller or service or repository, this main point code should get called, or say main point code you can say. Okay. So now we have to write the secondary logic, right? The point code we have defined. Let's say as per diagram, let me show you the diagram. So point codes we have defined the controller, service or repository or within the package, whatever we have written here. Whenever this logic will get called, we have written the point code. So that proxy class will get created. Okay, that is the configuration class we have written here. But now we have not written any aspect class or business logic, or you can say the secondary business logic. Okay, so for that what we will do, yeah, let me write one aspect class for that. Let's say log aspect. Okay, so in that log aspect what we'll do, we need to annotate this with @aspect first. Okay, then configuration, since we are doing the configuration here, then I will add SL4J for the logging, and the order should be 0. That means before configuration will get called, this configuration will get called first. Okay, order, I will give order as 0. Okay, so what I will write, I will write here the advice. Public, let's say object, the return type will be object, and let's say calculate method time. Okay, calculate method time advice. As I said, right, there are four different advices are there: before, after, around, and through the advice. So here we'll use the around advice. Okay, so around advice, the value is what will define like this main point what we need to define here, right? So let's say this is the package name. Copy this package name, paste it here, then dot. Your aspect class is point code class name is like point codes. I'll copy from here, I'll paste here. Then the method name is, I mean the point code name is this one, right? The main point code. Yeah. So this will kind of importing here. Okay, we have defined the point code. Whenever these point codes will get called, that means whenever this point code means it will go to the point codes. From here we have defined inside our package, and whatever, whether it is controller or service or repository, whatever it is, just call this secondary logic, whatever we are going to write here. So yeah, so what we'll write, the input will be like whenever this method will get called, Spring will automatically collect all the information, or this AOP will collect all the information and give this as a proceeding join point. All the information about the class, methods, and input parameter. Okay, let's say proceeding join point. Okay, and for now I'm returning um, let's say for null for now. Okay, so what we'll write the logic, the secondary logic, right? First we'll get the logger. Okay, so instead of using SSL4j, I will get the logger from the that particular class system, because if we are writing here SL4j, then this class log will get printed. It will not print the actual class logic. I mean, whenever it will log, at that time it will give, if you are using the SL4j, it will give this class. Ajay, from this class we are logging. But we want, if it is, if the join point is for service class or repository class or controller class, at that time from that class itself we will log the request or response, whatever. Okay, what we'll do, first we'll get that logger. Let's say final logger, yeah, final logger, then class logger is equal to log factory or logger factory. Okay, we are using the SL4j related the packages or classes and packages. Okay, get logger of what is the class name or which class. Then how we'll get from join point, we'll get the target class. Get target class, from which target class it is getting called. Then what is the actual class actually internally. Then get class. Okay, if you see here, this get logger is taking dot class as a parameter. So we have given the parameter as this target class. So what will happen, let's say in controller layer, whenever this log will get print, or we are logging intercepting this method, at that time in logger this class will come instead of aspect class. Okay, for that only we are using this, otherwise we can use the @SL4j. So what we'll do, let's say in normal, in if you say in real time, we are not logging each and every time with the logger information. Like whenever we'll do the debug and all, at that time only we are using this logging kind of thing, right? We need the what is the method time taking and all those things. So if we are enabling the debug, then only we will see the logic, right? So for that we can write the logic like this: if class logger dot is log is debug enabled. If it is debug enabled, then only do the operation, or else return. Let's say the debug is not enabled now. What I will do, I will return the directly the response from the business logic. Let's say join point dot proceed. So what it will do, it will call directly the business logic class instead of. So the flow is whenever user will get called, it will come to controller and it will see we have written the aspect for that, like the main point codes we have written for that. So this method will get called with the all the information, like what is the class, what is the method, what is the parameter, all those information it will give, and it will call this method. After that, whatever we are returning from here, the actual response will be this one only. Whenever we are proceeding, then this method is get call will get called and it will return the response. After that, again it will go to the aspect class because this is a round advice, right? So if you are returning from here, it will not execute the this logics whatever we have written in the down. Okay, so I think it is asking us to handle the exceptions. Okay, so we are just throwing the exception whenever any exception will get occur. So now what we'll do, let's say I need the what is the class name, what is the method name, how much time it is taking, then how much nanosecond it is taking, how much microsecond it is taking, what is the result, all those information I want to print. So for that, let's create a different class for optimization of the code, and we'll store all the information inside that class, and we can call to that toString method and we can print here. Okay, so let's create a class called log message or logger message. Okay, so here what we'll write at the red builder. So these are the Lombok related annotations I'm using. All ars at the red no works at the red getter at the red setter. The parameter will be like the class name, right? Private string class name. Okay. Now string method name. Now what is the argument we're getting? We can print here method args args. Okay. So now let's say um, long, how much time it is taking, elapsed time or something like that we can write. Elapsed time, let's say in millis. Okay, then we can print another also, like in microseconds, micros. Then we can write, we can log the what method is returning. Let's say we don't know, right, from dynamically what method is returning, whether it is string or any object, that we don't know. So the return type will be like the data type will be object now. Okay, so what we'll do, we'll override the toString method and we'll write some logic inside that, so that whenever we'll call explicitly the toString method, then that particular you can say the format should return. Okay, so let's generate the toString method. So this has generated the toString method, and what I will do here, let's say the result type is some object it is returning, right? So I want to do like it should print as a JSON format. So I can write the logic like this. Let's say new object mapper I will use. Okay, dot write value as string. Let's say this I mean result. This dot result. Okay, so this will also throw one exception. We can annotate this with at that snaky throw, so that no need to mention as throws something. Okay, and if you want to print as a pretty print, then there is something pretty print is there, I guess. Yeah, with default pretty printer. Yeah, this also we can write. That's it. Let's go to our aspect class. So what we'll write here, first we'll collect all the informations. Let's say string class name, okay, is equal to, from where we'll get the class name, right? The class name is like from which we are getting the call, right? So join point dot get target dot get class dot get name. That's it. Now the method name. What is the method name? So I will copy here. I'll paste here. Okay. So method name is like join point dot join point we are getting from the Spring. Spring itself will return the join point to us. Give us as a parameter. Okay. So here get signature, I guess. Yeah. Get signature dot get method name. I mean declared method. Okay. So what we need to do, we can typecast it to method signature. Let's say method signature. So now get method will come, then get name. Yeah, we got the class name, we got the method name. Now what we need? We need the start time. Start time. Let's say system dot nano time. Okay, because we are printing the nano, I mean micros and millis both, right? So we can take like this. Then we'll do the end time. These are the secondary logics, right? If you're writing like this, then these many logics you need to write in every layer. So we separated the secondary logic to the aspect class. So now what we'll do, the object result, the actual result what. So this is the join point dot proceed we need to call here. Okay. So result we are getting. Let's see. The thing is like here we are getting the class name, method name, then the actual will call will when the actual call will get started. Before that we are logging the, I mean storing the start time. Actual logic will get print here. Okay. From here whatever result we are getting, after that we are storing the end time. Then we have all the time, right? The all the parameters, I mean class name, method name, start time, end time, and result. Now we'll create the um, we'll return that particular I mean result here. But before that we'll log that. Okay. So how to log? Class logger dot debug. If debug is enabled, right, we have written here enabled, directly written. If debug is enabled, then come to here, then print, right? Let's say um, log aspect or something like that we can write. Then our message is this one, comma, so logger message is equal to logger message dot builder dot build. Okay, so this you can print here, but before that we need to store the values, right? Yeah. So first we'll store the class name, done. Then method name, I mean method name. Okay, so here method args, right? Oh, okay. How we can store the method arguments like um yeah, let's say string method args, right? Then there will be multiple methods and we want to store that in a string. Then what we'll do, then let's say stream streams. There will be multiple method parameters in the array. So we'll do that stream dot off. Okay. So here we'll pass all the arguments. So join point dot, I mean, I need to again typecast this one to get the method related information. Dot get method dot get name. Then here we need to collect all the arguments. Uh, I think it is from the join point itself we'll get. Let's try join point dot get args, I guess. Yeah, join point dot get args. Okay. So here what we'll do, after this we'll collect all those attributes, and after that we'll store that in a list, and that list will print as a, I mean, will store as a string. So collectors dot to list, then dot to string we can do, right? That's it. So we have the method arguments now with us. Yeah. Then what we'll do, we'll store the elapsed time, right? Yeah. Let's say in minutes. What we'll do to convert that time into millis, what we'll do first, we'll store the how much time it has taken, right? Let's say long elapsed time is equal to system dot already we have taken, right? I mean, end time minus start time. Okay. Now we have the elapsed time here. So now we want to convert that into millis. So to convert that into millis, so we can use the time unit class provided by Java dot, I guess, nanoseconds dot 2 millis. Correct. And that's it. This is done. Then we'll convert into micros to micros. Yeah, that's it. And anything pending, I guess. Let's check. Yeah, result is pending. So we'll store the result here. That's it. We have done. And now we store that information, and after that we are printing here, right? So let's start the application and check whether our logic is working or not. Okay. So let's start the application first. But before that we have not logged, right? The logging is not enabled, like debug is not enabled. So first try with debug not enabled, after that we'll try with the debug enabled. Okay. Yeah, let's start the application. So in the controller we have slash products, right? Okay. Application is getting start. I'm getting some error message. Let's see. Type repository. Invalid absolute type name. Stereotype dot annotations, right? So let's check point codes. Okay, sorry. Uh, okay, these are the stereotype annotations and this is REST controller. Let me cross check again. Sorry. REST controller is coming from the org Spring Framework web bind annotations. Spring Framework web bind annotations, then REST controller. Then these are coming from the stereotype annotations. I mean, this package. Let me check the service at the red service, from here it is coming. Yeah, stereotype and service. Okay, due to that the package name was not correct, due to that it was giving the error message. Let's see again, error message. Okay, character expecting at 0. Illegal argument point code is not well formed. Let me check if you have done any wrong. Okay, the application is started successfully here. Now what we'll do, we'll test this one, right? Let's go to the browser. Then what application is started with 8080 port, right? Okay, localhost, then products. So yeah, we are getting the response here, and we'll check in the log what we are getting. Yeah, received the request for the per, this is for controller, this is for service, this is for repository. But now the secondary logic which you have written in the aspect class, that is not getting called, because from here itself it is returning the response, because it is not executing these logics. We have not enabled the debug as of now. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll enable the debug now and we'll see. Let's say debug we are enabling with logging related, like logging.level dot login dot level, let's say root, whatever root is there, that will be info by default. Then whatever our application specific, right? Let's say com dot for our case this is example dot demo, right? Com dot example dot demo, whatever will come, or let's say com dot example dot star instead of that. So debug, the log level is debug. So let's see whether that proxy class logic is getting called or not. Okay, application started successfully. Now let me clear the logs here. After that we'll hit, yeah, it started. If you see here, yeah, the proxy class logic is getting called. If you see these three logic get called, then repository, from repository layer we are logging the class name information, the method name information, and we are not passing any arguments. That's why it is null, empty. The how much time it is taken, the millisecond is 15, the microsecond is this much, 15,000 something, and the result we are returning as this one. So if you see in the service layer, in the repository layer, everywhere we can see the aspect layer is getting called, right? So this is what we can log all the like our what is the input output, we'll have all the control with us whenever in implementing the AOP concept. So this is just for example purpose I have given, like we are printing the result directly, but there will be in business logic there is something we should not log in the personal information, we should not log in the like we should not log those informations, right? Due to that we can use the masking related patterns and all for that. Yeah, so that's it guys. So this is just for small example. This logic can be improved and can be optimized more. This is just for basic. Okay. Thanks for watching this video. We'll see you in next video with a new concept.